I've dedicated my career to learning how to turn founders into category leaders. And one of the biggest mistakes that I keep seeing is that most founders are sprinkling their ideas and their message in every single direction. They have no clear point that they are making. Every single day they're posting about something different. They're trying to ride on trends. They're trying to catch the next viral moment that they have. And then they wonder why the market still doesn't know what they stand for. And the truth is, most founders do not have a content problem. They have a gravity problem. I want you to think about the earth for a second. No matter where you stand, you're always getting pulled down towards the core of the earth, no matter where you stand. And that is exactly how your founder message should work. Every piece of content that you make, everything you produce, every story that you tell, they should all pull back to the same center. And when this happens, that's how you start having trust compounds. The market remembers you, and you as a founder become a category leader. But most founders, they have no gravity. Most founders, this is how they look like. This is the core, but then all their ideas are pointing in every single direction. Maybe some are pointing to the center, but it's pointing all over the place. This is why for them, nothing sticks. So in this video, I'm gonna give you a simple framework. I call it the core 5. And these are 5 things that give your founder message gravity. If you get these 5 things right, your content is gonna stop feeling random and it's gonna start compounding. And you're gonna start finding yourself building a super fan community around what you have to build. You're gonna start seeing more customers come through the door. And you're gonna start having a more profitable and growing business. And if you get it wrong, you're gonna continue posting for years and remain invisible. And if you're wondering, why should I believe this guy? When I started my business on Fungible 4 years ago, I had no investor money, I had no savings set aside for me to spend on influencers, and I just had a business and an idea and a camera like this one. And in the first year of starting my business, I was able to generate over $65,000 with less than 500 followers. You heard that right, less than 500 followers using the exact strategies that I teach today. This exact system then allowed me to build on Fungible into generating over $3 million in revenue, and we've helped the clients that we worked with generate over $100 million of revenue for their businesses. So let me introduce you to the core 5 right here. The core 5. These right here are 5 messaging pillars that you should have well in place, well established and well defined, that are going to point and create gravity towards the center, with the center being your business, which is hopefully profitable. And by the way, there's a free doc in the description of this video with actual work exercise to help you define your core 5. The first one of these core 5 right here is your beliefs. So the first messaging pillar that we need to have clearly defined is belief. This part is about, what do you actually believe that the market should associate you with? One thing, not 20 things, not 7 core values that you have on a Notion doc somewhere, and not a random mix of opinions. One core belief. For me, for example, that one core belief is that founder-led marketing is the future of marketing. If as a founder, you're looking to stand out in an age that is more competitive than ever, there are more products than ever on the market, building products is easier than ever. If you're looking to stand out, you're gonna need to tap into the most powerful marketing asset that you possess, which is the founder. That is the #1 core belief that I have, and every product that we have revolve around this overarching philosophy. When your belief is clearly communicated, it informs customers why you exist and why they should buy from you. But when you don't have a belief, your content has no center. You are just another company, another agency, another SaaS, another product on the marketplace that is null and devoid of any meaning. A couple examples of strong beliefs is Brian Johnson, the guy from Don't Die. He believes that death is an engineering mistake and death can be fixed. Elon Musk believes that the way we save humanity is by going to Mars. He believes it. Slack, for example, when they were getting started, believed that email was not the right way for teams to work together. A fitness influencer who decides to start a vegan protein brand believes that there's a way to get your protein in without having meat or dairy products. And something beautiful happens when people hear your beliefs repeated over and over again. They will either get pushed away from what you have to offer, because some people don't believe that death needs to be solved. They believe for religious reasons, for many reasons, that death is part of life. Great. But then other people are like, yeah, I get his point. I believe in what he has to say, and I want to be part of that. So for you right now, if you don't have a strong belief core, what I would start by doing is, there are exercises in the free document below, but I would ask myself, what is a core belief that you have that led you to be where you are today? That led you to start the business that you have today? The belief doesn't have to be some philanthropic thing that you want to solve poverty or injustice is bad. It can be as simple as you believe that the future of marketing is founder-led. The secret is to not overcomplicate it, but to generally believe it in your core. Because if you don't believe your core belief, the market won't as well. The second pillar of the core 5 is the problem, right here. So with the problem, what is the real problem that you are diagnosing in the market? And I mean the real problem, not the surface problem, because the founders who become category leaders, they don't just give advice, they diagnose the market better than anyone else. They understand the underlying problems that exist in the market. For me, the problem that I notice and I keep communicating is that founders think they need more content to stand out, or they solve their content problem by having to pay more on ads, more on influencers, and they find themselves stuck in the forever spend wheel that is paid marketing. And I've seen over the years so many times founders bankrupt their way into just spending more on influencers, spending more on ads, because they think that ads and influencers can save their business. But it's not true, and there is a better way, and it's a founder funnel. That's the problem that I've diagnosed and I've noticed about my market, and I keep repeating and I keep hitting away at. And oh man, have I had founders come to me and they were like, man, we have like exactly what you were talking about. We spent and spent and spent and we weren't getting the results that we wanted and we didn't know what to do. So we continued spending and now we are here, man, almost burned through our entire treasury. I wish I took your content seriously earlier. I've heard this so many times. And you can hear it in my voice. This is generally a problem that I've seen in the market many times again and again. And when you watch my content, you understand very clearly what is the problem that I solve, and I keep hitting away in different angles to solve that problem through the content that I make, the products that I have, the talks that I give, the podcasts that I'm on. I'm always solving that one problem. And when you have the ability to start diagnosing the problem that your market has better than anyone else, people are just gonna come to you and they're gonna be like, man, you speak my language. This is the equivalent of Brian Johnson coming out and saying that longevity should not be a luxury for the 1% of people. And that's where he comes out with his supplement brands, with his testing kits, all of these that are available to the everyday person. And that's where Elon Musk, again, is like, Mars is the solution to humanity surviving. We don't have the technology today. I'm gonna start SpaceX. So the problem should inform your solutions. So again, for you, clearly define what are the core, deeper problems that you have. Try to excavate these problems and then start making them part of your marketing collateral, part of your content strategy. The third pillar of the core 5 that we have right here is the mechanism. This one is also called the unique mechanism in some marketing circles. And what the unique mechanism is it's your own proprietary named way of solving the problem that we defined in the previous pillar. Because the market remembers what the packaged ideas better than just loose insights and loose problem statements. For me, for example, that mechanism that I've used is the founder funnel. Why? Because what it does is that it takes a vague reality, founder-led marketing, founder-led visibility, founder-led sales, all these terms that are a little bit abstract, and it turns them into an actual teachable method. Your mechanism gives your solution uniqueness. It makes it easier to remember, it makes it easier to teach, it makes it easier to sell, it makes it easier for people to have word of mouth. Without a mechanism, you just sound smart and you sound like everyone else. You know, just to share a quick story with you, one of the early concerns I got from a very close friend of mine, very successful entrepreneur, was around founder funnel. He was like, Leon, don't you think you're like trying to reinvent a complete new words? What if you just like stuck with founder-led marketing and then you built your brand around that specific keyword, and you would get pretty much Google discoverability because that is what people were searching. And his logic was absolutely correct. But I remembered a book that I read called Blue Ocean Strategy, and they spoke about how the top brands, they built their own category. When you think of CrossFit was not a word that existed before, but they created this new way of exercising, this new culture, this new way of living, and they packaged it under CrossFit. That is an example of a unique mechanism. If you think of Alex Hormozi's value equation method or money models, these are all unique mechanisms that he has. You know, today, after repeating founder funnel for close to 3 years now, just like repeating these two words, today people come to me and they're like, hey Leon, let's build my founder funnel. It's become a word. I've coined the term. I own it pretty much. That is the strategic value of having your unique mechanism and keep hitting at it. Because eventually, if you repeat it well enough, enough times, as we're gonna see in a later pillar, you're gonna become synonymous with the very category. Today, we have people that are saying, I need to build my founder funnel. These are the words that they are thinking of. And when they think of founder funnel, who will come up? The founder funnel creators, us, Unfungible. So that's the theory for this one. A unique mechanism turns a broad, vague idea into an ownable method. That is your method. And the final point here is that it's not that the market needs new names of things. It's that the market always needs a memorable container for the way you think. And this is where the unique mechanism comes in. The fourth pillar that we have right here is proof. So with proof, belief without proof is just philosophy. The mechanism without proof sounds like theory. Proof is what makes your gravity real. This is where you show your case studies. So case studies, you have the before and afters. So before and afters. That's where you have client results. That's where you have your transformations. And the thing about proof right here is it can come under multiple containers. Proofs can be literal, like here's a client testimonials before and after. It can be a client win, but it can also be a story, just like the story that I shared with you today. The story that I shared, which is the founder coming in and being like, man, Leon, we just spent all our money on influencers. That is proof of my method, that it works and it resonates with people. And when you have proof properly dialed within your communication strategy, whether on social media, on your website, on your emails, something beautiful starts to happen. Your customers start to come in warmer, the sales cycle becomes shorter, people buy more, they buy for longer, they tell their friends about you. It becomes that virtuous cycle that makes your entire marketing funnel perform a lot better. And let me share this with you. Proof is typically where people get stuck because either the product is not something that has a crazy transformation, or they might not have these crazy before and after transformations. But let me tell you something. You have proof. If you decided to start a business, it is probably a sequence of events that happened in your life that led you to want to start this specific business. You have a transformation there between the guy without a business and the guy or gal with a business. There was a transformation that happened here. That is your proof. There's a story of this wellness brand, this women's wellness brand. Their name is Bloom. And the brand was built around this influencer who had completely transformed her body. She lost, I think, 80 or 90 pounds in a matter of a year or two. And by sharing her journey, by sharing her own personal proof, she was able to build a community of women around her. And what's even crazier about the story is that they ended up creating this greens juice brand called Bloom. And one day, Amazon saw how profitable and lucrative this category was and how many people were buying into this new category of green juices. So what they did is Amazon created their own Amazon Basics brand. And I remember hearing it on a podcast how the founders, they woke up one day, they saw Amazon just all of a sudden launch their own brand. It had better distribution, it was cheaper, it had better placement on the Amazon website. They saw this, they were like, yeah, it was a fun ride, but how are we going to compete against Amazon? But then something fascinating started to happen. The sales didn't slow down. They didn't slow down. People kept coming, they kept buying, the community stayed. And until today, they remain the number one players in the green juices industry, above Amazon Basics. Why is that? The two products might be identical. The two products might be similarly priced maybe. But what Bloom had that Amazon Basics didn't was the story and the proof behind the transformation. Amazon's Basics didn't. It just had the product itself. But the proof of the transformation from that influencer and the community she built around her, that almost became the product. So your proof specifically, your transformation, that creates deeper meaning, deeper gravity within your ecosystem. So I would invite you to lean into it, lean into your proof. There's many exercises below, but one of these exercises is go back to all your past images of yourself, going through the process of becoming the person you are today. Whether it was 3 years ago when you were living in a studio apartment with your brother, for example, because you had no way to afford rent, or that time where you had $0 in your bank account and you took a screenshot. These are all proof of your own journey. And you can have all the client testimonials, but the strongest proof is your own proof. So start by leading with this, and then you're gonna start finding the client testimonials are gonna follow right after that. So these are the four. The last of our pillars is repetition, right here, repetition. You see, the reality is, this is where most founders fail. They think that they make a post once, they tell their story once, and then they think, people have already heard it. Let me tell you, it's not. People haven't. People are distracted. People are busy. People don't see your content as often as you think they do. And the best founders, what they've learned to do is to repeat themselves, repeat the beliefs that they have, the problem statement that they're solving, the mechanism that they use to solve the problem, the proof that they have. They manage to repeat it more often than their competitors. They've learned the art of repackaging their message in multiple different formats through different mediums, whether it's video, written, podcasts, analogies, stories, metaphors. They might repeat the same story, but through different angles, through different points in time. And it's through repetition that gravity really gets built. When the market keeps encountering a different expression of the same belief, that's when trust starts to compound. People are gonna need to see you multiple times on their feed. Multiple times, they're gonna have to see your message before they really get what you have to say. Strategy behind everything I just shared with you is how do you learn to repackage everything here in multiple ways so you can have the compounding effect that comes with repetition. As founders, we tend to overestimate how often people see our marketing message. You know, there's this great story of Henry Ford. Back in the days, he was walking through his factory line. And then one day he stops by the marketing department who had like an advert that they were working on. He looks at the marketing manager, he's like, "Sir, when are we gonna stop running this ad? I'm sick and tired of seeing it every single day." The marketing manager looks at Henry Ford. He tells him, "Sir, we have not even started running this ad." And the lesson here is that as founders, we will get tired of our own message before the market does. But trust me, the market is not as dialed into our world as we think they are, or as much as we are, because naturally it is our world. I've been yapping about the founder funnel for over 3 years now, and people still come to me and they're like, "Leon, what was the founder funnel again?" So putting everything I just shared with you together, if you want to build a founder message that has gravity, this is the model. You first need to have your belief system well defined. What do you stand for? You need to have your problem, the deep problem, well defined as well. What deeper issue are you solving? The mechanism. What is your named way of solving the problem? Then you're going to need the proof. Why should the market believe in you? And then finally, the fifth one is repetition. How do you keep bringing everything back to the center? These are the core 5. And the reason this matters is simple. If you don't do this, every post that you make, every content piece that you make, they all start from zero. Every sales conversation starts cold. Every insight you post will disappear within 24 hours. But when you do everything that I just shared with you, the market will start forming a consistent picture of who you are. And once that picture forms, trust will start to compound. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Leon Aboud. And if you need help defining the pillars that will make your founder funnel irresistible, then make sure you click in the link below, founderfunnel.com, and book a call to speak with myself and my team. I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.